How can I keep the mind pure? How can I have the heart pure? What should I do? There again, there is a common advice given in almost all the scriptures. To put that in one word, they ask you to sacrifice. In every religion you see this, sacrificial rites, sacrificing. Abraham was asked to sacrifice the Isaac. In Jewish religion, you have heard a lot of sacrifice. Hindu religion, you have sacrifice. But unfortunately, the sacrifice got twisted. Instead of sacrificing their own animalistic tendencies to purify the heart, they started sacrificing the animals. Because even the devils can quote scriptures. But in our daily practice, in the name of religion, we do many things towards this achievement of sacrificing our little self. The little self that drags us into all these problems. The egoistic self, if you want to call it that way. Not the higher self, but the little self. The I, me, mine. It is to subdue that little self, to clean that egoistic self, and to allow that egoistic self to surrender to the higher self. We even go and kneel in front of an altar, fall and prostrate in front of an altar. Offer everything unto the altar to show that, Lord, nothing is mine. It's all thine. I am thine. All is thine. Let thy will be done. By that act, we are sacrificing our little self so that the pure higher self will shine. So, sacrifice is the common note. To put it in simple words, sacrifice the selfishness. Lead a selfless life. Once we sacrifice our selfishness, we rise above these limitations. You become a universal being. You are no more limited to your own body. You are not limited to your country. You are not limited to your caste, creed, color, language. You become a universal being. Then you learn to love everybody as yourself. Then you understand what is meant by universal love. What is meant by love thy neighbor as thyself. Our first and foremost duty is to experience that peace, that God within us. Then you might ask, what should I do afterwards? Because sometimes we are in a hurry to do things. If I get that peace, what should I do? My immediate answer would be, get it first, then you will know what to do. Long before there was a conference, a sort of symposium. The participants were candles. All the candles came to the conference. And there was a big candle as the chairman. And there were a few small, medium-sized candles as lecturers. And they were lecturing. All about the theme is light. Certainly the candles are the right people to talk about light. They spent several days talking about light, but nobody saw the light because none of the candle was lit, including the chairperson candle, the chair candle. So one fellow in the audience got tired of the whole show. What is this? We are talking about light, but totally in darkness. Nobody has ever seen light. We are simply talking about it. I should go and see the light. So it got up, walked out of the church, slowly walked around the corridors, and in one corner he saw a little light coming. Went there slowly, saw a little candle lit. He said, hey, we are talking about the theme, light, since the past several days. How did you get light? Well, I got it from another lit candle. How did you get it? Well, I went there close to him. He asked me to rub myself against him. And I just touched him and I got the light. Can I get that from you? Sure. So they touched each other and this little fellow also got a little light. And he slowly walked back into the conference hall. Everybody saw the light. It might be a sort of cooked up conference, but probably you got the message. The whole world can shout for peace, but there cannot be peace. Peace is not experienced by shouting. But by finding within, by not disturbing one's own peace. And then, as a peaceful person, you simply walk. All those who have eyes will recognize that. They will come and ask you. You may even sit in a corner of a corridor, quietly. The people who are in search of peace will come to you and say, "Hey, you seem to be so peaceful. Huh? What is the secret? Huh? How can I find peace?" Then you become a useful person. That's why I say the essence of all these so-called spiritual paths, religious or spiritual or yogic, you call it under any label. But the main purpose behind all that is to find the peace in you so that people can find a use in you. Of course, when I talk about the yoga practices, I use another word along with the peace and use, which is ease. Ease, peace, use. Physically be at ease. Mentally be in peace. And in society find use. Or let the society find use in you. In the case of ease, it's very clear. Every time anyone anyone disturbs the ease, he calls himself diseased. So what is disease? Nothing but disturbed ease. So what is restlessness? Nothing but disturbed rest. So even to get diseased, you should have had ease before. Otherwise you cannot disturb it. So that is your natural state. Get back to your natural state. You don't have to do anything to experience your natural state. Your natural state is God's state. That's why you are said that you are made in the image of God. That's your very natural state. You don't have to do anything. If you still want to do something, undo it. Undo what you have done. I'm simply quoting a beautiful quote from the scripture, from Hindu Vedas. It says, "Na karmana, na prajaya, dhanena." Can't you translate? Na karmana, na prajaya, dhanena. Good. Tyagena ikena amrtatva manasahu. Na karmana, not by actions. Na prajaya, not by progeny. Dhanena, not even by charity. Not even by amassing money. In another place it says, not even by literacy. Na medaya. Not simply by learning all the scriptures, but by renouncing all this. Tyagena. Tyagam means sacrificing all these. Because all these things are done with the help of ego. Your so-called rituals, your prayers, your worships, your knowledge of scriptures, your building churches and synagogues and temples, including lotus. These are all part of ego. It's the ego that does all these things. They won't help you to experience the amritatvam. Amritatvam means the immortal principle, which is God. The permanent peace. So to experience that permanent peace, to experience that God in you, you don't have to do anything directly, but you have to do many things to undo what you have done already. That's why often people ask me, are you a Hindu? I say, no, I am an undo. Yes, because we are doing a lot of things to disturb our peace. But then what can I do? Should I not do anything? It's impossible for me not to do anything. Sometimes I want to sit quietly and do nothing. But in few hours, my stomach says, put something into. I feel hungry, I feel thirsty. I have to do something. So then how can I stay away from doing anything? It's impossible. Then it seems to be a sort of contradiction here. You cannot stay away from doing anything. At the same time, whatever you do is not going to help you. So there is some difference here between doing and not doing. The Bhagavad Gita calls it as karmanya karma pasyed. Find action in inaction. That means you can do and still not doing. Sounds like a little philosophy, is it not so? Huh? That's what I call it, philosophy. Because neither you understand nor I understand. It's true, because the real philosophy cannot be understood by the minds. I'm using my mind to tell you, you are using your mind to understand me. We have to rise above these little minds. Then only real philosophy could be experienced, not understood. But in our limited understanding, we can still understand something. That means you can do and still we cannot call ourselves doers. That means you become an agent. You are doing it not for your sake. You are doing because a higher force within you prompts you do or makes you do. So you are not responsible for your action. Or you are not doing it for your sake. That's called karma palatyagam. Renouncing the fruit of your actions. doing it not for you but for others. Selfless act in simple words. Selfless acts will never disturb our minds. If ever you want to try, try it. Anytime you feel disturbed, if you really analyze the situation, you will find out that you have done something for your sake, with a selfish motive behind. And that caused the disturbance. But try to do things without any selfishness, always for others. You can even live for the sake of others. You can eat for the sake of others. You can sleep for the sake of others. You can breathe for the sake of others. Then even your breathing, eating, sleeping, drinking becomes a selfless act. For such people, peace is always experienced. It is only such people who could really contribute something towards the peace and harmony of the world. Until then, we can make a lot of plans. Stop all these nuclear projects. Start an anti-nuke demonstration. Go and throw bombs on the nuclear stations before they throw bombs somewhere else. Radical activities. If we are really interested in peace, this is the only way. Find that within you first. And then peacefully tell others. Not everybody is ready to understand you right away. Not everybody is going to follow you immediately. Don't even expect that. Just simply tell them. And leave it there. As it is said in the Bible, throw the seeds. Some might fall on the rocks. Some might fall on the fertile soil. The seeds that fall on the fertile soil will grow. On the rock, it will be sitting there. Maybe one day the wind will blow them into the soil, it might grow. So you have done your job and let it take roots in its time. We have no right to force anybody, even if you have a good idea. How many of you have seen the film Gandhi? Quite a number of people. Thank you. Thank you. Did you get this message there, what I have been telling now? Gandhiji found peace. Fine. His life was based on ahimsa. But he wanted everybody to follow it. How many did follow him? How many were ready? Of course, we say that because of the non-violent approach, Gandhiji got freedom to India. It's true that India got freedom and Gandhiji was non-violent. But I am not ready to say because of Gandhiji's non-violence, India got freedom. Sounds like a little contradictory thing. Huh? The English rulers did not give the freedom because everybody was non-violent and everybody was asking peacefully. They gave the freedom for the sake of one person, Gandhiji. Why? Because they knew that if anything happens to Gandhiji, the whole country will rise up. It is that fear that made them leave the country. And with all that, what happened towards the end? Somebody shot Gandhiji. That's what great men end up with. Many great people. When they present the bare truth, the plain truth, many find it hard to accept. So when they become restless in even constantly hearing a person saying this, they just want to put an end to that. But it doesn't mean that non-violence did not bring any result. It did. Even one person's non-violent attitude is enough to bring a great result. How many Jesus Christs were there? How many Buddhas were there? How many Moses were there? But how many millions got the benefit by those few great personalities? That's what we should aim to become. It's not the monopoly of a Jesus or Moses or Muhammad. It is everybody's property. It's everybody's right, birthright. But it takes time. It takes proper understanding. Millions know about Christ, talk about Christ. Thousands preach about Christ. But how many Christs are there? How many Buddhas are there? We have Buddhism everywhere. Hinduism everywhere. How many Hindus are there? That's important. Are we striving for that? Every one of us should strive for that. I must become a Jesus. I must become a Moses. And I will do everything that they did to become that. Then only you will be called a good Christian, a good Buddhist, a good Hindu, a good Islam. Then through you, many could get the benefit. Only then you can call yourself a peacemaker. Let us strive for that. I thank you for listening, and probably I'll stop at this point and see if there are any questions from the audience. Yes, please.
Swamiji, what do the flowers, the incense signify? When you offer flowers and offer things like incense?
The question is, what is the significance behind offering flowers and incense and such other things? Well, when you offer incense, you are trying to tell God that you are incense. Huh? By offering incense to God, you are trying to tell God that you are incense. Or at least you want to be incense. And get out of this nonsense. That's a sort of Pandit's language. Huh? Fruits and flowers are more or less the final products of the plants. Like that, the final product of your life should be offered to God. The fruit of your life, the fruit of your action should be offered at the feet of the Lord. That's why we offer fruits. Not just because God wanted a little banana, because he is hungry, or he wanted a little bread. No. Your life should become a bread to be consumed by everybody. So it's a symbolic act of offering yourself unto God. The Hindus in their temples, they go and take a coconut and break it, or give it in the hands of the priest to be broken. That symbolizes the ego of the individual. You are taking your ego and hand it over to the priest. Sir, I am a hard nut. I cannot break it myself. You take care of it. And the priest really gives a hard hit, breaks the coconut. And then once the hard nut of ego breaks out, inside you are all nice, white, juicy kernel. And he offers it as if telling, this guy is no more a hard nut. His ego has been broken. He is all beautiful now. Come on, God, accept him. That is the idea of offering a coconut. Lighting a candle is again, God, shed me some light. I am in darkness. I want to be lit. I want to be enlightened. For the sake of my enlightenment, I light a candle in front of your altar.